Hey, everybody. Thanks for signing on here. See some people already on. Very excited for tonight. So I'm Doug Adams from Run DNA here, and I'm going to introduce our special guest here in a second, but just a little administrative stuff. So you can put comments in, and this will be available recording after. But if you have questions or thoughts along the way, you can put them in the comment section. Maybe somebody can pop one in there right now just to make sure everything's working. Or you can introduce yourself, who you are, where you're coming from, and any goals or things you're really looking to see with tonight. But just to preface why we did this topic and what I'm really excited about sharing is that, hey, Lisa. So good, we got that going here. So we did a survey last year, and we were asking people, what can we do what's your biggest problem? And what are the things that we really need to help people with their businesses with seeing more runners? And what are they really looking for with that? So that is one of the things we were really most surprised about, was that over 2/3 of the respondents to that survey said that they need help marketing to runners. They need to find more runners. And that was actually one of the things that we were really looking to see how we can expand and help people and give more ideas with it. And then I admittedly have worked with a lot of digital marketing agencies, and only for a short time, because I found that a lot of them were better at marketing themselves than they were marketing my services here, until I met Jared. Jared Tangier is from Elevated Audience. He's the founder of that company. And he's been somebody that has really made a big difference for our business, especially for Omega Project, our clinic here. And I want to share, him to share some of the things that we did and how we can use that to get more runners in the door. Because whether you're looking to make a full-time business out of working with runners, or you're looking to develop your niche practice, the really important thing is that you get as many reps as possible and you get people coming in. So you have to market your services, whether you're just looking to make sure that you're sharpening your skills or go all in on the business. You need to get runners in the door. And so very lucky to have Jared here sharing some of the wisdom and sharing some of the things that he's helped my company with along the way that has made a huge difference. So I'll turn it over to Jared, and thanks for being on.
Thanks for the awesome introduction, Doug. Appreciate that. So my name is Jared Tangier. I am the founder and SEO director at Elevated Audience. Just a little background on me. I have a bachelor's of science in marketing from the University of Delaware, and I hold SEO expert and master certifications from the Gotch SEO Academy. I've also been I was the first recipient of the VIP Ambassador Award over there. And I've been interviewed on multiple digital marketing channels, Gotch SEO, ClicksGeek, and the Affluent Academy, to name a few. So I love sharing information. I love sharing my knowledge. I love sharing what I've learned. And that's what we're going to go through tonight. So the first thing I want to talk about what exactly we did for Omega Project. So we tried a lot of different things, and we landed in social media advertising. So a paid social campaign was where we saw the greatest amount of success. We did try, admittedly, we tried Google Ads, and it didn't turn a strong return on investment. Our cost per lead was too high. So our approach for social ads was a strong front end offer. Okay, so you can see here, we're clearly advertising that it's a $75 gait analysis consultation. And after some testing, we found that the word consultation actually converted better than some of the other terms that we tried. We created a scroll stopping ad creative. So you have to remember, when you're on social media, people aren't there looking for your service. Okay. They're looking at their friends' kids. They're looking at people's vacations. So we really have to stop them from that scroll. And that's what this ad creative did. So it clearly showcased somebody completing a gait analysis or a gait consultation. We clearly defined what the offer is. And then we had that great call out, and I have to give credit to Doug, take 9 minutes off your marathon time. That tagline also converted really well. The other thing we did was we managed expectations. So we clearly defined that it was a 45-minute gait analysis consult. So it wasn't a full gait analysis. And we told them exactly what they were going to get, because what we don't want to do is manipulate anybody or have a scammy type offer. We also landed on some very focused targeting. So we used a geographic radius around Wilmington, Delaware, or around one of Omega Project's locations, and we targeted people based on their interests. So were they interested in marathons? Were they interested in long distance running? And surprisingly, to my surprise at least, the best converting audience was people interested in running shoes. So if Facebook had identified that they have an interest in running shoes, that was the audience that converted the best. We also did some A/B testing, and we tested a form on Facebook, which is when you click that get offer, a form pops up and it has their information pre-populated. And we also tested a landing page. So if they click get offer, it would take them to a website page that explained more about the product or the service. So after a lot of testing, these were the results. So we spent $993.24 in ad spend. Okay, that was the amount that went to Meta or Facebook. Of that, we generated 36 leads. That's a cost per lead of $27.59. Those leads to date have generated $4,080 in revenue for Omega Project, which is a 4 times return on investment or return on ad spend. Doug and I talked about what the average lifetime value of an Omega Project patient is, about $5,000 over the lifetime. So those 19 leads that converted into kept appointments will likely generate about $95,000 for Omega Project Physical Therapy. So it's about a 950% return on investment. This is a very duplicable thing. It can be done in any market in your area or in any other area. So it's just about finding the right targeting, having the right ad copy, and having the right ad creative.
Yeah, Jared, like just to jump in real quick, like one of the things that I loved about working with Jared is like even if you go back to the slide before, just the testing that went into it here. This was something that I had tried some of these Facebook ads in the past myself, and not having known anything about it, I almost like dismissed it. I think that's why Jared and I first went to Google Ads. I was like, I don't know if they work. I like kind of messed around with them a little bit, but the ability it's just like when we work with patients, you test, retest, and him finding that like running shoes was the thing that the audience was really most targeted on was the thing. And this is something that, being a novice in this area, I had no knowledge of, and was just one of those things that when I started seeing him do that, it was just far beyond any capability I had there. But it made a huge difference where, you know, some of the early ads weren't doing a lot. And then when we refocused and retargeted, that got a lot there.
That's a great point, Doug. Yeah. One of the most common misconceptions about social ads is that you can just boost a post or you can just run an ad for your service. You need to have a strong offer, right? You need to be willing to give a discount on something or something for free. People aren't just going to click on your ad just because they see it, right? They need to feel like they're getting something instantly for it. And one other thing that I forgot to mention is, notice how we put located in Wilmington, Delaware. We did that specifically because we were running this actually in a 50-mile radius around, and you were getting people coming 30, 40 miles away. Mm-hmm. But what we didn't want to do was waste our budget on people clicking from too far away, right? We wanted to drive up the quality of the lead to make them a higher converting lead. So that's why we clearly put located in Wilmington, Delaware. So if somebody saw it in Haverford, Pennsylvania, they may or may not click on it. They may or may not, but at least it was right there for them to see.
Yeah. And we got one question I'm going to put up on the screen now here from Christina. This was a little bit geared more towards me. Like, how'd you come up with take 9 minutes off your marathon? And did you have cases to back that up? Yes. And I think it's really important not to overstate things here with this. This is based off of a research study that looked at, we kind of brought 2 studies together. We said that gait analysis has been shown to improve running economy. And then another article is showing that improving running economy by 5% led to a 2.3% improvement in your performance, which for a 4-hour marathoner is about 9 minutes. So I think having something concrete, and that's an important thing I think also to remember, is when you're designing these things, you really want to talk about the patient as the hero and the transformation that they're going to go through. Because just saying like, hey, we're experts in gait analysis, or we have 3D, or we have these things, isn't going to mean much to them, but they're like, I would love to take 9 minutes off my marathon. That is something that they can transpose themselves into, and it makes a big difference. So you don't want to be misleading. We're doing another golf ad right now for the clinic, and we didn't have the same kind of information. So we had to be a little bit more creative about it. It's like, how would you like to drive the ball farther? How would you like to reduce your handicap? So it had to
reduce your pain.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So some of those things you got to make sure that you are not overstepping, but you want to make it very quick and tangible that they understand right away, because we've tried some things like get a 3D gait analysis before, and people are like, I don't know what a 3D gait analysis is, and how is this any different from what they did when I bought my running shoes and somebody just watched me on a treadmill? So you have to be very concrete with what you're saying. And the other thing that I'll say with that, so thanks, Christina, for the question. The other thing I would say is that make sure that you are really understanding what the goal of the ad is. And for us, you'll see that we typically charge $400 or $500 for a gait analysis, but this one was really to bring in new patients and to get patients in the door. And we had a lot of people telling us when they came in for it, like, I knew about you guys and I always just didn't, like, it was always a little outside of my reach to pay for a full gait analysis. But then when they came in and they saw the value of what they were doing, that's why we've had a lot of conversions, and why a couple weeks later, we've already generated 4X, right? And we know that those people are going to be very valuable down the line because we're going to see them again and again. So just you'll notice that the pricing and everything is very, and this is what Jared really walked us through as well and did a great job of that, of showing us exactly, hey, what are you doing? What's your goal? What is, like, this is one of the things I didn't really understand about ads is, what is the specific ask, the call to action that you need, that you want them to be doing, that's simple and is it's an enthusiastic yes, not just like a maybe, because you only have a second for them.
Yep. Really good. Yep. So there's no other questions about the social ad campaign. Doug, if anybody pops in, just pop it up on the screen. I'm going to move on to search engine optimization. So there's a ton of SEO opportunities for running businesses, for physical therapy practices. This is actually a screenshot of a physical therapy practice campaign that we ran for quite some time. But you can see here, ironically, oddly, those big peaks are Mondays and those big valleys are Sundays. So I think people beat themselves up on the weekend and then call their physical therapist on Monday. So we'll talk about some of the opportunities that you guys can implement, on your own or give to your web developer. So when it comes to content, you need to have a mix of informational and transactional content. Informational is going to be, like you see here on the right-hand side, running mechanics and gait analysis. Share your knowledge, share your information, share your expertise. Okay. On the left-hand side is a transactional article about gait analysis. Okay. Don't mix them. If somebody is looking for gait analysis, then they should have a page that explains exactly what it is and what they're going to get and the benefits. If they're looking for information about running mechanics and how it corresponds to gait analysis, then give them a blog type article. And it's very important to keep the intent of the reader in mind. So if they're looking for information, don't try to sell them something. And if they're looking for a service, sell them your service.
That was a big change, like that we did, like on our website, that you really helped out with, is we were trying to do too much with it. And we were just trying to combine some of these things, that it should have been, hey, just if the purpose is education, educate them. If the purpose is sell, make sure that they have all the information. That was a big change for our website, as somebody that managed their own website for a long time with that. We did get an ad copy question there.
Yeah, sure.
I have to switch back too much back for this, but Sawyer was asking about how long your ad copy typically is.
The answer is it depends, Sawyer. The most important thing is that first sentence. So if we jump back to that slide, you can see here I used a little emoji of a runner. And it said, take your running to the next level, get a $75 gait analysis consultation and shave off those precious minutes. Try it now. So those first 3 lines are the most important thing. Most people won't actually even click see more. They're going to make a decision based on those 3 lines. But if you expanded that, you would see exactly it. There was a section that says what you'll get, what we do, and about Omega Project's experience. Okay, so it was pretty long. There's no reason to make it shorter or longer, but you have to focus on those first 3 lines, and those things need to be tested as well.
Yeah, great. And then there's a question too about on the SEO side of things here. So that we were just talking about. So don't give a call to action or plug on your service and informational post, right? That's kind of the question there.
You can definitely have a call to action at the end. Okay. But more importantly is linking to, and we'll talk about internal links in a couple slides, but if you're going to write, if you have a gate analysis service page and you're writing an article in this example about running mechanics and gate analysis, you can link in the context of the article. You'll see here that little blue text. It says gate analysis on the right-hand slide. That links to the gate analysis page. So if somebody was reading this article and they wanted to get a gate analysis, they could very easily click that and go to the service page or the transactional page. But we're not blasting them in the face with sell, sell, sell. We're just trying to give them the information that they came for. And this is where it goes down the funnel, right? So there's top of funnel. That's people that are looking for information. Then they go a little bit lower and they're doing comparison research. And then there's bottom of the funnel where they're looking for a specific service. So we have to, when you're writing this content, really kind of think about where the person would be and then craft your content around that.
Very good.
This is tremendously important. It's called EEAT. Expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trust. This is in the Google guidelines as of about a year ago in the latest algorithm updates. They're focusing on trying to make sure that you're qualified to write the content and make the claims that you're on your website, especially because all of you or most of you are probably in the health space. So that would fall under what, and I'm going to give you another acronym, YMYL, your money, your life. Those websites that operate in that category are under extreme scrutiny from Google. You can, if you want to see a great example of how to showcase EEAT, you can go to Healthline and they'll always see the author with their bio, who fact checked it. Things like that are great trust signals. And we need to build up the trust of the website. But this is the author bio that should go at the bottom of every single one of your informational blog articles. And it helps build the trust. If you can link to your about page, you can link to your LinkedIn profile. You can also link to some of your accreditations, your certifications. You can link back to RunDNA if you have level 1 or level 2 gate certifications. Those are great trust signals because it gives Google a point of reference. Don't forget internal links. So we talked about that 2 slides ago about selling. However, internal links are a direct signal of what the target page should rank for. So sometimes I tend to talk a little bit too technical. So Doug, if you need me to explain something differently, let me know.
Yeah.
But this page is linking to a gate analysis in Bryn Mawr, PA page. Okay. And the target of that page, the goal of that page was to rank in Google for when somebody searches gate analysis in Bryn Mawr, PA. So by using this in our informational content and linking it with that text to the service page, we're sending a signal to Google's algorithm about what that page is about. So it's Google's algorithm is just based on numbers. It can't read and it can't comprehend text. It's strictly based on signals. And that is a very clear defined signal that you can implement. So if you have an active blog and you're not linking to other pages on your blog, it's something you should really think about. And it's relatively easy to implement. It's just a little bit time consuming.
Jay, we got a question here from Megan James here. Can you give an example of a YMYL post or website there?
Sure. So a YMYL post or website would be any kind of medical practice. Okay. Anybody that's giving health information or anybody that's giving financial advice, right? Or talking about finance. So your money, right, would be anybody that's talking about investments, portfolios, anything to do with people's money. And I mean, for your money, for your life, Healthline, WebMD, these are all your life and even every single small business, right? So if you're an OBGYN or a physical therapist, you're in the your life category. That's just really the way it is. Because if you tell somebody, let's put it this way, the reason it's under such scrutiny is if you tell somebody in one of your articles that they should do a specific exercise for back pain and they end up hurting their back, Google's trying to prevent that, right? And that's just a very simple example, but that's why it's under such scrutiny.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, let's talk about headings, meta titles, and meta descriptions. Headings are HTML, right? They're in the framework, in the coding language of how websites are built, and they go from an H1 to an H6. And if you're using WordPress, if you're using Wix, if you're using really any website builder, you can usually have a drop down to select what type of heading you want for your specific text. Generally speaking, rule of thumb, one H1 per page. It should have one and only one. All of your other headings should be nested in order. So you can have an H2, and you'll see here, this has an H2, two H3s, then an H4, then it jumps back out to an H2. That's perfect structure. The different headings, if it's each section of your article might be separated by an H2 and then subheadings and of that section. So adding headings, I see tons and tons of websites that don't have any headings. It's just a wall of text on a page. Separate your content. It makes it more easy to skim. People don't read anymore. They're just going to skim. So the headlines will jump out at them. And that's also a great user signal. Another very important thing of when you're developing any page on your website is your meta title and your meta description. Or in some platforms, it'll be your SEO title and your SEO description, depending on what builder you use. Your meta title is what Google will most likely show when it ranks your page. Your meta description is that block of 2 sentences underneath of it that give a description. So if you have a target keyword for a page, include it in your meta title and include it in your meta description. But also keep in mind that you want to make the title and the meta description appealing to the reader to earn that click. So don't try and be spammy or stuff too much in there. Clearly define your service, your offering, the benefits, why somebody and really why should somebody click on your article.
Jared, I'd be interested just for the people on to hear like how many people manage their own website versus have somebody else do it there. This is kind of stuff like I've built some of my own websites and done some of those things. And now it's like, Jared, can you please clean this up? Like Jared's done a great job of like cleaning up our websites and things. Cause I feel like I've written really good blog posts before and put a lot of time into them. And if I don't have the headings the right way, it doesn't, like, nobody sees it. So I had that realization. It's totally worth having somebody that understands this stuff go through it because there's lots of process. So I'd love to see in the comments, if anyone's willing to share, like who's doing their own or, who's having professional management there. Christina says it looks like a child did hers. I doubt that there, but it's one of those things. This is something that it's your front door. And we were talking about this at Run DNA the other day, just how it really should be something that is constantly working for you, that is always giving that impression, always showing people what you're doing. And they're going to find you from articles like this, and they're going to come to these pages, but then they're going to want to understand a lot more about you. And your website is such a valuable part of who you are, and it's got to match your brand. It's got to match the quality of your service. I think that really—
it's often the first impression.
It is. Yeah. It looks like a lot of people are starting having professionals do it, which is great. I recommend that. If you don't have somebody, I recommend Jared. Jared's great, and he understands the space for a lot of us that are there. You helped some of our other clients as well, that have 3D or that do gait analysis, that work with athletes. So you understand this PT space and how to do that stuff. But I think, I think having somebody do it is definitely worthwhile for you.
Exactly. Yeah, because you wouldn't want me to perform physical therapy on you. So
yeah, great point. Yes. Yeah. Perfect. Good.
And I think that was the last slide. The one thing that I'd like to share, I see some people are managing their own or redoing theirs. Don't assume that Google knows what your service area is. So one of the most successful things we did for a physical therapy practice was we built service area pages, which is kind of odd, right? You think of that when you think of like a contractor, right? They have a page for their HVAC repair and all the different towns in their service area. We did a lot of physical therapy near pages in like a 5-mile radius around their geographic, their brick and mortar location. And they started to get a lot of visibility in the surrounding towns that were actually lower competition than the main town they were in. And it brought in a lot of new patients. So
I'm always surprised, when we have somebody that's calling us and they're asking us about our education or technology things, I'll check out their website. And after working with Jared, one of the first things I check is, do they have their location and the surrounding areas listed on their website anywhere? And I'm always surprised how few people actually do have that. I've gone on the calls with people. I'm like, so where are you located? I see you, like you're a physical therapist, but I have no clue where you're actually located there, because people don't always put that prominently in that front page. And it doesn't even have to be at the top of the page. It can be buried somewhere below, just somewhere that people can find it there. So
at least have your physical address in the footer of your website with your phone number.
Yeah. So hopefully now is a good time to start putting your questions in. If you have questions about anything about, digital marketing type stuff, I think we just wanted to give you some concrete things that has made a big difference for my practice. We've seen, and we were already a busy practice, but we've really tried to refine some of this to help other practices as well. So good time to put those in, and just really, hopefully you can say, hey, I can go back and make sure I'm using headlines, the appropriate way, and putting the surrounding areas on my website, and trying some of those things. So we do have another question here. I'll put that up while other people are thinking about it there.
How often do you update Facebook ad creatives? Do you let them run a bit to let them mature in the algorithm, or do you update them weekly? So we test at first. So I'll usually launch 2 creatives to the same audience. So when you're testing, you have to test one variable at a time. So if I'm testing my ad creatives, I'm going to run the same ad to the same audience, right? I'm going to dedicate, let's say, $5 a day to each one of those ads, let it run for 4 or 5 days, and then see which one performed better. As for the winning creative, I'm going to let that run until I feel like it's exhausted itself. So on average, you want a frequency of around 7 to 9. That means you want your ad to show to an individual user 7 to 9 times. That's the sweet spot where you're going to get the most conversions. They'll scroll by it once. They'll scroll by it twice. By the time you get to 7, 8, or 9, if they're interested, they're going to click. So you'll start to see if you're monitoring it, that it'll go up and then it'll start to go down. Your frequency will get too high. It'll get 11, 12, 13. So your conversions, your cost per conversion will go up. That's when it's time to start switching up your ad creative. You could also be running multiple different ad creatives in different types of campaigns, so people are seeing different variations. But Sawyer, to answer your question, definitely not weekly, right? More like monthly or quarterly, depending on your ad spend. So if you're only spending $5 a day on the ad, it's going to run for a longer period of time. If you're spending $500 a day, which I don't recommend, but if you are, it's only going to last you a couple of weeks, because you're just going to saturate that market and they're going to see the same thing over and over again.
I'll say for that ad that we're talking about here for this presentation, we actually had to call Jared and tell him to turn it off after like 4 days, because we got so much response that we didn't have space for everybody actually. And we were scheduling people like 3 or 4 weeks out with it. So we ran it for like 3 or 4 days to start. We turned it off for a week or 2, and then we turned it back on for like another week. So this one that we ran, I don't know how long we ran it for in total. And then when it started to trail off a little bit and we didn't have any more space anyway, we just said, let's turn it back off as well there.
Yep.
Good. So then Amber was asking another question here.
How often do you recommend having a new blog up versus writing emails to send out to your current email list. So having an email list, building an email list is the most valuable thing you can do for your business. Okay. It's really the only thing that you own. You might have a Google business profile, you might have a Facebook profile, you might have an Instagram profile, but you don't own those. The platforms own them. So at any time it can be taken away from you. Okay. So build your email list and consistently send emails, because these people are your trusted audience. Now, there used to be a cadence. You want to publish one blog a week or one blog a month, and you want to be consistent. That doesn't really impact your search, your rankings anymore. However, writing a new blog is a great reason to send an email to your list, right? So when we went back to the beginning, we don't always want to be selling. You can't send every email you send can't be selling something, but it can be sharing helpful information. So if you just wrote a new blog, you could email your list with an excerpt from it and then give them the link to read the full article. It's just a touch point, right? You're staying relevant. Somebody may be like, oh, you know what? I did want to call Amber, right? So that's the reason to do it. But frequency, cadence, it's up to you. Whatever you're comfortable with.
I couldn't agree more about the email list, and that, like, make sure you're getting the most out of the work that you're doing. And now, even especially, we haven't really talked about it much, but using AI, things like that, you can write a longer form blog type post thing and then say, hey, can you turn this into a 300-word email for me for this audience? So that you don't have to do it twice type thing, where you write the content, and there's lots of ways to do it there. But I couldn't agree more about the value of having the email list, and the email list should be treated like gold. And your objective is just get everyone on it with your other things that you're doing.
100%.
All right. Lisa was asking about for a hybrid therapist. So a combination of mobile and brick and mortar. So any thoughts, like if you're serving an area like that?
You actually have a competitive advantage, Liesl, because you can actually build, from an SEO perspective, you could build a page for physical therapy in and every single location you would go to, right? If you have just a brick and mortar, it's hard to put physical therapy in. You kind of have to have near, and most people are searching for in. So I would recommend building out pages on your website, one page per location. General rule of thumb for SEO is one keyword per page. So if your keyword is, I'm in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, so physical therapist in Doylestown, PA, I would have a page for that. Buckingham is the next town over. Physical therapist in Buckingham, physical therapist in Percy, physical therapist in Fountainville, and you just go down the list of every single one you service. The key here, Liesl, and this is where most people go wrong, every page has to be unique, right? Don't just copy a page and change out the name. That's called cookie cutter content. Very popular around 2015 to 2017. Google did away with it, and those are the sites that get penalized.
Yeah, that's great. I would have thought that'd be a disadvantage, but it sounds like there's an advantage of that, because you can actually say, hey, I'm servicing this area or so, and you just
she can, and you're going to get visibility from your Google business profile wherever your brick and mortar is, right? When you have a physical location with a published address, you're in the Google map pack, right? In the maps, you're going to get your strongest visibility usually within a 3 to 5 mile radius. But in organic search, you can build out all those location pages, and it is 100% true that you do physical therapy in that town.
Yeah, great. All right, Jessica's question next here.
We found more ROI with target market of runners using Google, Facebook, or Instagram. So definitely not Google. Google was a really hard campaign for us. Our cost per lead was very high, and the quality of those leads were relatively poor. Which I was surprising, because these people were searching for gait analysis. The Facebook campaign, we ran the same campaign on Facebook and Instagram, and I let the algorithm decide where to show those ads. But from the analytics, we could see that we got more conversions on Facebook than we did on Instagram. If I had to guess why, Instagram's kind of cluttered. All the pages if you're scrolling your feed, everything kind of just runs together. Whereas on Facebook, you have a mix of different types of content, so the ad tends to stand out.
Jared, how much did you do anything with this? I don't remember if we talked about that, about like specific demographics, certain ages, certain sexes, or anything like that. Because I mean, I know we know that information from my practice, who our typical patient is, and we can say, hey, like typically it's a 35 to 54-year-old female with this amount of education and in this kind of demographic area. I forget if we did any of that specifically. Because that might say like, hey, if you're in a little older audience, you might go to Facebook. If you're in a younger audience, like you might go towards a different one there.
Real quick. Let's look at all time view charts. All right, so we were about 50-50 on this campaign on Facebook and Instagram, right? So they both converted about the same. Let's see here, audience. I don't have demographics.
I was just wondering if that might have like some kind of contribution towards that or not there.
We were about 60% women that converted.
Yeah.
And most of them, we had a big chunk, right? About 23% that were between 25 and 34, and everyone else, all the other conversions were 55 and up. Now, keep in mind, this isn't like real patient data, right? From your internal team would be more accurate, Doug, but this is what Facebook has.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you. All right. Monica had one about, would 2 posts per week on Facebook be enough content to draw attention to the page?
Monica, so I think you're talking about organic posting, right? So just making posts to your profile. Just for clarification, what we've been talking about was a paid ad campaign, right? So generally speaking, you're going to get about, I think on Facebook, you're getting about 3 to 5% visibility right now. So if you have 1,000 people that follow your Facebook business page, you're going to get every single post, about 30 to 50 are going to see it. So organic reach is continuously being suppressed, simply because they're a business, right? What's Meta's business model? They're an ad platform, right? So the more people they give you free impressions for, the less you're likely to pay for them, and that's why they suppress your reach that significantly. But 2 posts per week is better than 1 post per week, but not as good as 4 posts per week. I know that's not probably the answer you were looking for, but when it comes to organic reach, the more you post, the more people will see it.
Maybe tagging along on that, or an observation is I've seen people that do very well through Instagram or so are posting several times a day. It seems like there, and then maybe you can expand and to further Monica's question, post versus story, those types of things. I don't know if you have any insight on that.
Organic social is not my area of expertise, full disclosure. But I can tell you that Reels, right? You have to play along with whatever the latest trend, whatever the latest feature that the social platform rolled out, right? So I think on YouTube it's Shorts, right? On Instagram it's Reels. Believe it or not, I know a lot of medical practices or health practices or coaches that do really well on TikTok. I always had a misconception that TikTok trended way younger. And I built a website for she was a relationship therapist, right? An expert. She has a book, does trainings, all that. We were talking about different areas about how she can market her book. She ended up doing TikTok against my recommendation, and that's where she sold the most copies of her book. So I think there's a lot of opportunity on TikTok, and what I'm learning more recently is people 35 and under, definitely 30 and under, sometimes go to TikTok to search before they go to Google.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. I've never personally used it, so
I don't have an account, but
yeah. I think Jamie's coming here too, like post to get viewers, bio to get subscribers, stories to sell type thing. That's
See, my and maybe even smart.
I like, and maybe even just having a method that you internally have too, of like, hey, I like I never want to sell on this type of thing. I always want to just give information, like maybe just sticking to your own formula too is helpful as well with that.
The lead magnet works well on social, right? Giving something for free in exchange for an email address. That works. Yeah. That does work well.
Yeah. Here's Sawyer's would you recommend written blog content or more video-based content? Which is an interesting question. I like this one. Have you seen better performance one way or the other?
So written blog content gets indexed in Google faster. So if you just publish a video on your website on a page with no text, maybe just the title of the video and the video itself, it's probably not going to rank or get any visibility organically from search, because the search algorithms, the crawlers, can't read and comprehend the video, right? They have to have text on the page. That's what they're looking for. What works the best is the combination of both, okay? Because there is a ranking factor in the SEO algorithms based on engagement. How long does this person stay on your website and how many pages do they visit? Are signals. Google knows everything, right? It's creepy how much they know. If you use Google Chrome, they know every single website you visit. If you have Google Analytics installed, they know everybody that comes to your website. And they're using all of that data to determine what page is most relevant. So if you have a great article and your competitors also have a great article, but you have a video and they don't, you have a much better advantage of getting a higher position in the search engine results and building more trust. Video is the best way to build trust.
Perfect. All right. I think we're going to have one last question here. A good one, kind of talking about this with Liesl here, and then we'll wrap up. So suggestion for amount of time in a week to spend on digital marketing. Yeah.
So if you're doing it yourself, the more time you can spend, the better. You're going to get out of it exactly what you put into it. If you're trying to grow an organic following, build your social platform, just posting isn't going to be as valuable as interacting. So go to your competitors' Instagram pages or Instagram pages, see who follows them, go to their profiles and like and comment, engage with the people that follow them, go visit different hashtags that are relevant to what your services or your expertise, and engage with those people. Always remember, in any type of marketing that you're doing, providing free value is the best thing you can do.
I have kind of a funny answer to this. I think you should be focusing on working on, the way I look at it is working on today's income versus tomorrow's income. And if you're not spending enough time working on tomorrow's income through digital marketing or relationship building, whatever you're doing to get tomorrow's income, then you're going to be missing out and you're going to go through ebbs and flows. And this is what I think a lot of clinicians see, is that when they get busy with patients, their digital or any marketing efforts go down, and then they have a lull a week or two later and like, what happened? I didn't get any, like, where'd everyone go? Then they put some effort in and then it comes out. And so my answer to this is you should be putting very little into it, because you should be hiring somebody that knows exactly what to do with this, because it gets a great return. I mean, you look at the slide there, we spent $1,000 on ads in a short amount of time, and already within a few weeks, there's $4,100 in return there. So it's a 4x kind of return on what we saw there, which is huge. And those people are going to keep coming back. So I'm biased because I've tried to do it myself and I thought things didn't work. And then I've worked with somebody, Jared specifically, that has done a great job. And I've seen that you can get a really great return on it. And I was still working with my patients while he was running all this stuff, and it was easy to manage with it there. So I'm biased because I've seen the results, and I think you need to invest in tomorrow's income by focusing on this stuff, and you should start today on that. But I know everyone's at different spots in theirs, but I can't speak highly enough of that. It's worth investing in that, to have a consistent pipeline of patients coming in, and having somebody there that can help guide you is a big part of that.
And Doug, great points. It's not a faucet, right? You can't just turn it up when you need more and turn it down when you need less. Okay, it doesn't. When we first launched the gate campaign, we were on fire out of the gate, right? Then we shut it down and built it back up, and our cost per lead actually doubled. It was still at an acceptable rate, but we weren't. We hit the algorithm at a good time. Usually, it takes about 2 weeks for a campaign to pick up steam and get optimized. But it's something you want to be consistent with.
Yeah. And that was a lesson we learned too. Like, okay, that was make sure you're ready to accept the volume of that. Make sure you're consistent with it there. So, I just think having somebody, just like we're a guide for our patients, and like Jared said, he wouldn't want to do physical therapy on us, right? And we shouldn't always be doing all the marketing ourselves. We should understand it, and I think you always have to be involved. Because that was an ad Jared and I wrote together with the save 9 minutes on your marathon there. Like, I think that it's a teamwork, but you find the right team. So, well, Jared, thank you so much. I think this was really great engagement. Love all the comments. Yes. So, Jared, let us know how we can follow you, get a hold of you.
Sure.
How can we get more information? How can we work with you if we're interested? Like, what's the next step there?
Best place to reach me is through my website, elevatedaudience.com. I'm on Instagram at Jared Tangier. Not as active as I should be, but client work comes first, right? Just like patient work comes first.
Yeah.
But yeah, best place is always going to be our website, elevatedaudience.com.
Yeah, they've been a pleasure to work with. I can't say how many digital marketing companies I've gone through trying to find somebody that delivers on it there, but they definitely do deliver. So thank you all. I hope this is helpful just to help you find more runners and get more runners in the door, no matter what you're looking to do. I think all of us are out there to help more people, and you have to advertise so that people know who you are. If you're just really, I kind of say it's like if you cured cancer in your garage and then never told anybody, you do a great disservice to the world. And it's the same here. If you're doing a great job, make sure you're letting people know about it. So thanks everybody for joining live or for listening later. And thank you again, Jared, for coming on here.
Thanks for having me. This was awesome.
All right. Thanks everybody. Have a great night.
Like what you hear? Leave a review of the show wherever you listen, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. RunDNA helps runners and running specialists through education and technology to identify each runner's unique injury profile to avoid setbacks and maximize results. The RunDNA podcast is produced by Ace Running LLC. The RunDNA podcast is intended for educational purposes only. No clinical decision-making should be based solely on one source. While care is taken to ensure accuracy, factual errors can occur. Always seek the guidance of qualified medical professionals before making healthcare decisions. Find us online at rundna.com.